Hi, Court.
And hi, B Critics fam. Welcome to another episode of the B Critics podcast.
This episode is part of our Coming to Theaters or Now in Theaters series, where we discuss new movies spoiler free.
And in this episode, we're giving you all the details on Oppenheimer and what you need to know before heading to theaters.
Yes.
Yeah, because I am heading to theaters literally tonight. 7 p.m. this evening, I'm going. So I haven't seen it yet. Liz has seen it.
Yeah, I saw it. I got to see it like advanced screening. So I've had time to collect my thoughts and figure out exactly what it is that y'all need to know. I literally cannot wait for you to see it, Courtney.
I know.
I had a blast.
I'm nervous about even this recording because I don't want you to tell me anything. I want to go in and experience it for myself. But it's such a long movie that I don't really think that you can.
And I promise, I am not going to say anything that is going to give anything away from the movie. I have been very particular about what I'm not going to say. So
okay,
all good.
All right, you.
All right, so I'll just tell you real quick what the movie is about if you don't already know. I'm not going to say a lot because the whole the exciting part of this movie is the storytelling. So I'm not going to tell you anything about that. Literally just going to tell you main premise. So in this riveting adaptation of American Prometheus, J. Robert Oppenheimer recalls every excruciating detail of his past as it pertains to his involvement in the development of the atom bomb.
Yeah, so who is J. Robert Oppenheimer? For those who don't know, to be perfectly honest, when I first heard about this movie and I heard his name and I heard atomic bomb, I was like, okay, I can kind of infer who this man is, but I don't remember him from history class, to be perfectly honest.
Oh,
I don't know. So he's an American theoretical physicist, and he was the director of the Los Alamos Laboratory during World War II. So they call him the father of the atomic bomb because he was the one who organized the Manhattan Project. He was the director of it.
Yep.
He's Jewish. That's another fun fact.
Yeah, he was a Jewish immigrant from Germany.
He has degrees from Harvard, where he got his undergrad degree, and then he actually has his PhD from the University of Göttingen. I don't know if I'm saying that right, in Germany.
Sounds right to me.
And then he was a professor at Berkeley.
Yep.
And he was present for the Trinity test, which is the test of the first atomic bomb. And then one thing that I read that I actually think is crazy is 1 month later, that was when the United States used the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm sure everybody knows about that. But it's pretty, that's kind of crazy, that turnaround. I didn't realize that.
Everything about creating the atomic bomb, testing it, and then actually using it was on hyperdrive because America wanted to make sure that they were the first to have it and to use it. And so
and it was in the middle of World War II, and I think we knew that Germany had already started their atomic bomb program, so we were kind of behind them.
Yep.
Yeah. So this movie is 3 hours long.
Yes.
That is long.
It's literally going to fly by.
Okay.
So I'm very into World War II era stuff. So all of this is very intriguing to me. So I was just taking it all in, and I was enthralled and obsessed during the whole thing.
Didn't count the time of the credits in this one.
No, I didn't.
Wow, so engrossed in the movie.
I wasn't allowed to have my phone, so I couldn't do it anyways, but
okay. So it comes out today. I'm going to do everything in my power to get this episode out today too, so hopefully this is timely. And it was produced by Syncope and Universal Pictures.
Yeah. And I think this is the first Christopher Nolan not to be done by Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah, it's a big deal that he left Warner Brothers. We're probably not going to get too much into that, but it is by Christopher Nolan, and he has a pretty good resume of movies, if I have to say. So, I mean, everybody knows him for like Interstellar and Inception and
Mhm.
Batman. But he has like I feel like this is different than most movies that he does in a way, but I guess I don't know. I'm curious to see it because I've only seen most of
Mhm.
his like sci-fi and um like the sci-fi movies. Those are the ones that I like.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of like what he does is
Hmm.
he does sci-fi really well. This is not a sci-fi movie. It's a historical fiction. Some people are calling it a biopic, but yeah, I mean, it has a lot of those elements in it, and I think that's what makes it so effective is
Yeah.
because like he's portraying a real person and these are real like historical events, but it's portrayed in a way that makes it feel like he's a character,
Well,
like
if
he
you
was an
think about
invented
it too,
character.
like at the time, the thought of like an atomic bomb was kind of science fiction, right? Like,
A little bit, yeah.
yeah, like I mean, it was because nobody had ever done it before. So I feel like probably portraying the movie in that light
Mhm.
made it very exciting.
Yeah.
But Christopher Nolan, for the last few years, has come out with a movie like every 3 years. So we can probably expect another movie in 2026. And
Yeah.
for a while there, he was making them every 2 years. So he started with
They're
Batman.
getting more advanced.
Yeah, yeah. So like I think since 2006 to looks like 2014, he had a movie every 2 years. So like The
Uh-huh.
Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception in 2010, The Dark Knight Rises, and then Interstellar in 2014.
Mhm.
And then from there on, it was every 3 years. So 2014 was Interstellar, Dunkirk 2017, um, Tenet in 2020. And then Tenet is the one where he had his beef with Warner Brothers because of the way that they like released it surrounding
Mhm.
COVID. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Tenet has like an interesting like air around it. I haven't seen Tenet, but
Hmm. Have you
people
not
are
seen
like
it? It
very
has Robert
torn.
Pattinson in it.
Bro, I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't seen this movie.
Probably because the like release of it got kind of botched.
Yeah. And like I don't know, COVID was weird for me. I feel like I
Hmm.
was in like a time warp. I have no idea what happened.
Agreed.
Anything between 2020 and 2022. Like it's
Agreed.
just all like meh. But yeah, Tenet people are like divided on Tenet.
I think it's not as good as Inception. That's just my take on it.
Yeah.
It felt very similar to me, and I just didn't think it was as good. I thought Robert Pattinson was. I thought all the actors were great, all of them.
Yeah. So I did see I think this was on like the IMDb like trivia section, but Oppenheimer comes out 6 years to the day after Dunkirk.
Interesting. Wow, he really is
Yeah.
keeping to his like every 3 years to the day.
Yeah.
That's
To the
crazy.
day. Yeah. Well, I didn't fact check that, but
Okay.
that's
I
what
mean,
IMDb trivia says.
okay. Okay. I mean, we can do a quick look up.
While you're doing that, I'll just say I watched Interstellar for the first time this week and I was
Okay.
obsessed.
We do need to talk about that because so we were prepping for this outline and I was like,
Uh-huh.
Liz, like what Christopher Nolan movies have you seen to compare to? Cuz like
None.
I haven't seen like all of them for sure, but she hadn't seen any and I was like, you got to prep, girly. Like
I'm
got to
sure
do
I've seen the
something.
Batman movies. Like my brother was very much like a superhero movie guy,
Yeah.
so I'm sure I've seen Batman Begins and the Dark Knight, but like
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I feel too. Like I think I've seen one of them when my parents watched it when I was young, but, like, I
yeah.
almost don't even count that because I don't remember it. So, like, I
And
don't
like were
think
you really paying attention, you know?
No, I all I remember about it is that it was dark, and I was like, "I can't see anything that's happening in this movie."
What's going on?
I know. Okay, so
Yeah.
Dunkirk came out July 21st, 2017. So,
Yeah,
it
so
is
exactly
exactly
6.
6 years. Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
So I was
All
looking up
right.
about Christopher Nolan and I didn't see
Mhm.
any like Oscar wins, but I saw 5 Oscar noms and they were all
Oh,
for
cool.
something related to either Inception or Dunkirk. So I've never seen Dunkirk, so that makes me feel like I need to
Mhm.
go see Dunkirk.
Yeah, me too. I need to watch Dunkirk.
And Harry
Um,
Styles has a part in that movie, right?
I don't know.
I think he does. I think that was like his acting debut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just leading you into that question. I know he's in that movie. Um,
um,
so
I had something to say. I completely forgot.
back to
Oh,
the
I
movie.
would not be surprised if this movie gets a ton of nominations and like wins.
Oh, okay.
I would like I would actually be shocked if it didn't.
It seems like people are going crazy about it, so I bet it wins
Yeah.
something, hopefully.
Yeah.
Although what do I know? So notable cast, we've got Cillian Murphy,
Uh-huh.
Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, and Josh Peck.
Yeah. I so those are just like some of the characters. The list just goes on and on of these
Mhm.
like 5-star actors and actresses that are in this movie. Like there's so many people and everyone in it was perfectly cast. Everyone like did their research to know how their characters are supposed to react in certain situations. Like
I mean
everyone in it was great.
that set of actors that I just read is like a very, I would say, like, skilled set of actors. Like,
Mhm.
they have their shit together kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so you think at least the portrayals of the characters was good?
Yeah, they Christopher Nolan did an amazing job casting for this movie. And like I said, the actors just did a great job bringing their characters to life. Like they were all believable. Like if I, no, I did believe. I was like, you know what? We are sitting in the 1930s and the 1940s, and I am watching these real people live their life. It was crazy. It was
So
fantastic.
like, why do you think that is? Like, what do you think made this film different than ones where it kind of feels like fake, you know?
Yeah, where you can like tell, like, oh,
Yeah.
like I'm watching this movie, but like, yeah. So I think the difference is that Nolan was 100% bought into the idea that Oppenheimer is the most important person of our lifetime.
Okay. Yeah, I've read
And
some, like, reviews that say things like that.
yeah, and like he was like set out to tell the story of the most important person. And he took it really seriously and everyone that he like brought on took it seriously too, and I think that's like what made it so good is that they were all like completely bought into it. um I don't know, I the storytelling was just like beyond, like
Okay.
there's nothing I
Yay.
could really compare it to.
I will say that from, like, the trailers that I've seen and, like, videos that I've seen, Cillian Murphy, when you, like, do the side by sides of him and J. Robert Oppenheimer, they look, like,
It's
very
uncanny.
similar. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell the difference, but I think he is definitely portrayed really well, and I'm really interested to see,
Mhm.
like, what he looks like because I've seen all the comments about, like, how, like, you watch the movie and you see Robert J. Oppenheimer's face, like, get more and more, like, I don't know, like, skinny or shallow, or what do you call it when somebody is, like, sallow? Is that a
Like
word?
chiseled. I don't
No,
know.
no,
He
like,
gets older like throughout the movie.
where your cheeks sink in?
No, I don't know what that's called.
Okay.
But yeah, they yeah. I guess we could like go ahead and talk about like cinematography and all that
Yeah,
because
let's do
it
it.
plays a big role.
Yeah, so how
So,
was the soundtrack? We've got a soundtrack by Ludwig Göransson.
yeah, so it's an original soundtrack and this guy's done a bunch of stuff and he's worked with what was the last one that they did? Tenet. I think he was the one that did the Tenet soundtrack.
Okay.
Um So I got to see this advanced screening, like I mentioned already, and they played the soundtrack like as people were walking in. So we got to
That's cool.
hear like a lot of the music that was gonna be played, um, like just while we were sitting down getting popcorn, like whatever. And I don't know, it was just like really, it like all worked really, really well. He did the soundtrack and also the background noises, so like the bomb, like all the
Yeah, that's
things.
cool.
And there was also moments where it was like deafening silence. And I like don't even know like how else to describe that, but it was just like perfect. And it
Yeah.
didn't feel like you were sitting in a theater and there was no noise. Like there was noise, but it was like silence. It was very
Okay.
cool. It
Probably
was
like
like
at
really,
a
really
certain
neat.
pitch that like made you feel like it was really silent. Because
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like there has to be some use of that because when you think of like an atomic bomb, you think of like the aftermath of the bomb
Hmm.
and how it just like decimates everything in the vicinity. And so what do
Yeah.
you have
Well,
left?
and like
Silence.
the nuclear explosions happen faster than the speed of light. So the explosion's happening faster than you're like comprehending that it's happening. So you really
Okay.
don't hear it until later.
Okay.
And that was used in that moment. It was so cool.
That's
It was
really
really,
cool.
really cool.
That's really cool. So Ludwig, he did do Tenet. He also did
Hmm.
Black Panther and Wakanda Forever.
Yeah. I think he's done some really, really cool stuff.
Hmm.
And he really, really did some cool stuff with this one too.
So one thing I'm like super curious about is
Hmm.
I've done a decent amount of research on this movie, and
Hmm.
in an interview, they were just saying that they didn't do any special effects. And I,
Yeah.
how is that even possible?
I literally can't tell you. I mean, there was so many like supposedly they didn't use special effects. That's what I'm saying because there was so much in it that just looked so real. And
Yeah,
obviously they didn't detonate an atomic bomb. Like obviously they can't show like a nucleus splitting. So like how did they create these images? Like I am so interested to see all of this stuff come out that tells us how they did it
like all the behind the
because
scenes.
yeah, I have
Yeah.
no idea. Literally not a single clue how they made everything look the way they did because it looks real. It's
Well,
so cool.
hopefully, like when all of that comes out, we can incorporate that into our like full movie review of this
Mhm.
one. That would be good.
Yeah. So part of it too that was so interesting to me is you're like following a person through their life. So they're gonna age. And they age all the characters in the
Yeah.
movie. So it must be like makeup and costuming that they
Yeah.
used, which is so impressive.
That's cool.
Yeah. Very, very, very neat. And then just like the way that everything's shot. So we talked about special effects, but the way that he shoots everything, I keep referring to the storytelling.
Mhm.
And that's like that is what it is. It's telling the story of a person. And it just I feel like sometimes with the storytelling, like it gets like bogged down. There's too much dialogue and not enough showing. But you're just like with this, I was just so engaged. And I could tell
Christopher
everyone around me was too.
Christopher Nolan does a good job of telling stories. He uses like sometimes he goes like nonlinear.
Hmm.
He tells the stories. He does a good job with the dialogue of like giving you a lot of information, but like interspersing like dialogue scenes and action scenes, so it's not like
Hmm.
so much that it's boring. Uh,
Yeah, he did a really good job too, like not making it feel like a history lesson
yeah.
because like everyone knows at least a little bit about how this story goes. And I think he's like very aware of that and he
Mhm.
kept that like at the front of his mind as he was putting the script together and keeping everything like on track. And like the parts that are the history lessons are more of like aha moments. Like
Okay.
you as the audience member already know what's going to happen and they'll say something and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, like I know what that is. Like I know what's going to happen."
Like a
And
dramatic
it's
irony kind of thing.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like you're in on something that he doesn't know and
Yeah, that's cool.
it makes it more fun.
Yeah, I like that.
And then just one little like tidbit of information I have is that the script was written in first person, which apparently is like abnormal for movies.
Yeah.
So instead of
That
saying like J. Robert Oppenheimer walks across the room, it was I walk across the room.
yeah,
And
that
so
sounds
like
super
everything's
weird.
revolving around him.
Cuz like a script is typically written in third person and it has like
Mhm.
the name of each character and their lines. Like it's just like lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, I mean, I don't know this for certain, but I'm sure there was some like improvising going on. And yeah, I don't know. Matt Damon is the one that said that in an interview. He said like I was like dumbfounded because the script was written in first person and I was like I have to be a part of this.
Hmm. Okay. That sounds super abnormal, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else with the cinematography?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay, so did this remind you of any movie you'd seen before? Maybe the one Christopher Nolan movie you've seen?
Yeah. So, the way the story's told and just like overall feel of the movie, it was giving me like if Where the Crawdads Sing and Interstellar had a baby.
Okay, I
That's
hope
kind of
you're
like
only saying that because of the way that Where the Crawdads Sing, like, moves around in time.
yes, yeah.
So because I don't want it to
It's
be
not like
anything
Where the
like
Crawdads
The Crawdads
Sing.
Sing. So I love that book, but that movie was, like, cringy as hell to me.
Really? Oh, I really liked the movie.
We're not gonna talk about that, but the scene where they, like, are running around in the trees with the butterflies, like, I cannot. I cannot. I literally burst out laughing. Okay. Um,
But yeah, I don't know. Y'all tell me if I'm completely off because I've been off before, but
well,
that's like kind of what I was feeling.
I'm curious to see, like, what movie it feels like.
Hmm.
I mean, I've mostly seen, like, his sci-fi movies, so I'll be
Hmm.
curious if it's a lot like, if it's more like Interstellar or Inception or what.
Hmm.
I hope Inception because I liked Inception. Okay. So I feel like we're kind of already touching on a lot of this, but it sounds like time is definitely a really interesting um, tool that's used in the storytelling of this movie. Uh,
Yeah. Christopher Nolan does that in like all of his movies. And if you want to hear more about that, Raiders of the Lost podcast just did an episode where they talk about Christopher Nolan and his obsession with time and they go through
yeah,
all of his movies and talk about it. Which was really intriguing for me to listen to since I haven't really seen a lot of the movies.
he is
But
obsessed with time. There's an
yeah,
element of time in both Inception and Tenet. That's why I
I
felt like
think
they were very
everything.
similar movies.
Hmm. I think he knows how to use time and like he's like very
Hmm.
aware of time, and so that makes him like I don't know. Like I feel like his movies are kind of centered around time a lot.
Well, and I know the Batman movies are told like out of order, like they jump around in time as
Hmm.
well during. Yep.
Yeah.
What about Killian Murphy?
So I watched a lot of Peaky Blinders,
It's probably his other
and
like most notable role.
he's fabulous in that. But his character Tommy Shelby is very similar to J. Robert Oppenheimer, except Oppenheimer's not as like evil.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's got that like stoic, like dry thing going, and it's I mean, it just works so well for him.
Yeah.
Killian Murphy, like those two characters, like Killian Murphy is not like a like stereotypically like handsome man. Like he's got a different look to him, but these characters just like make him attractive. Like something about them, it's got like a magnetic pull and you're like, "Why do I like you?"
You hear it, boys? Confidence is more important than your looks.
Here we go.
Okay, what about Emily Blunt's in this movie?
Yeah, obsessed. I have
So
never seen
good.
her play a character like Kitty Oppenheimer,
Okay.
and everything about Kitty Oppenheimer is like I'm like don't even know what to say, but she's like it's just like badass. Like everything about her, she's so like intricate's not the right word, but she's complicated and like it comes across so well and nobody says it. Like
Yeah.
you can see it.
She
It's
has
so
like depth to
yes.
her and you can
Yes,
tell.
it's very very cool.
Yay.
The last one I want to talk about is Florence Pugh.
Oh, good.
She plays well, I'm not even gonna say who she plays, but her character is getting like some flack on the internet because it's not a lot of character development. And her character is really there to give Oppenheimer more depth. So she's like a side character, but the times that she's on screen are electric. And I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she is electric. She has like definitely like a very
She looks so different in this movie too. Like
buzzing
so different.
presence, like when she's on camera, I
You
think.
will love her character, Courtney.
Oh, good. I
You're
think I
gonna
know.
love her.
I have looked up what her character is, so I kind of know, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything specific within that you can talk about that
Mhm.
like stood out to you from this movie?
Yeah, so I wanna start with the costuming.
Okay.
Um, and I feel like it's so integral, but it can be taken for granted sometimes, like good
Yeah.
costuming and good costuming design. It was just spot on. Like from the military uniforms to just like their daily outfits, like everything was time appropriate. We see like 40 years on screen. And
Yeah, that's
it
true.
it
It's
just
cool.
all it was perfect. Like everything
Oh,
about it. They did such a good job. It really helps you like get into it because I feel like if they didn't have that right, it would throw it off completely.
yeah. Okay, so I've also seen that there's like black and white sequences in this movie,
Mhm.
and like a few months ago I saw that like Kodak had developed the first ever like black and white IMAX film stock like for this movie.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think Christopher Nolan was very set on doing it all in film. He didn't want anything to be digital, and in
Okay.
order to get the quality to come through on like
Like
for
when it's
black
black
and
and
white,
white. Yeah.
they'd have to diminish the quality to make it black and white.
Got it.
And so in order to keep the same quality throughout the movie, they had to develop a new film stock for him.
That's
And
so cool.
it was so worth it. The black and white moments, like I don't know exactly how many there are, but like all of those like are in my head. It's
Cool.
crazy. It's really,
Cool.
really cool.
Ooh, I'm so excited. The hours are just
Ticking
getting
down.
smaller, getting closer. Okay, so what would you say is your favorite part of the film?
Yeah. So this is like really cheesy or ironic. I don't even know what to say. Um, but the Trinity scene,
Cliche.
yeah, a cliche. There we go. The Trinity scene, and that's like where they test the bomb for the first time. Well, he
I
doesn't call it the
mean,
bomb. He
I
calls it
would
the gadget, but whatever.
interesting. I would kind of hope that that's like the highlight of the movie. I don't know if that feels like the climax, like where they test the bomb. So it's probably a pretty
it
important part.
it's one of them. There's like many climaxes throughout this movie, which I think is what like keeps you entertained because it's
Okay,
like, all
for
right, the
3
atomic
hours.
bomb went off, but like what next? And it
Yeah.
just like keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and it's so engaging. Like it's so cool.
Okay. Yeah, I'm super intrigued to watch it because I've seen like so much stuff about how like oh like J. Robert Oppenheimer is like the most important person of like our
Mhm.
era. And
Yeah.
so I'm kind of curious to see like how they twist it that way.
Mhm.
Because like obviously he's important, but the only thing I can think of is like, now countries have this like incredible power of nuclear power and the ability to
Mhm.
like World War everybody talks about or jokes about World War III, but like that actually is a pretty scary concept and this is kind of like where it started. So
Yeah, and like some of the coolest parts of the movie are where they're like coming to that realization that this is going to change the world.
mhm.
And it's it's very like deep and emotional.
Oh, we love a good
Um
emotional movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like very humanizing like those moments cuz when you think of like scientists and inventors, you think of these people that are like these like all encompassing, like higher than human people, and it brings them back down to earth. They're
Mhm.
like the moral struggles and the dilemmas, and it's very, very well portrayed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yay. Okay, so tell me about a little bit more. You already mentioned it, but your theater experience earlier this week.
Yeah. So I saw this in 70 millimeter. So that's the way Christopher Nolan intended it to be viewed. So if you
Okay,
have a
cool.
70 millimeter theater near you, I would say go see it that way. I mean, if not, you're still going to see it. It's going to be fantastic no matter how you
Mhm.
see it. But it was intended for 70 millimeter viewing. I got to see it at a historic theater in downtown Atlanta that has recently been like um, restored. So it closed for a while and then um, someone who owns another local theater bought this theater, restored it, and it's like back operating. They show old movies, they show new movies, and they got the like once in a lifetime opportunity to be the only advanced screening in the city of Atlanta for this movie.
Cool.
And like one of the reasons that they got it is because of the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival. And the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival is like shining light on the Jewish community and the directors and actors and singers and everyone involved in film, like that's part of the Jewish community. And so this was obviously like a very big film for them. It's
Mm-hmm.
about World War II. It's about this very famous Jewish scientist. And so we were sharing the viewing with them, or they were sharing the viewing with us, really. But they did like a whole presentation beforehand. So I got to learn a little bit more about that. And I'm hoping in February that Hayden and I can maybe be a part of the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival and see all of their movies this year.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention is it was a full theater. Like
Well, yeah,
people
I'm
were
sure.
waiting in line to get in, and they were like finding single seats to put people in. Like
Oh,
it
wow.
was packed. It was very
Wow,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever been in a full theater before, like full. And it was just
Really?
like everyone was so excited and like I don't
I
know.
feel
It
like
was
you
very, very
have all
cool.
those like midnight premieres that you went to as a kid. I bet those were full.
Maybe. I
Yeah.
just like didn't notice it. This is like the first like adult full theater experience that I've had.
Yeah.
I also got a little memento
What does that even
from
mean? Is that like a nod to Christopher Nolan's Memento movie?
no, it's like something to help you remember that you went to
Okay.
see
Okay.
it. I guess
Okay.
it does have that movie.
Yeah.
I got a piece of 70 millimeter film
Oh
with
my
some of
gosh. That's so
yeah. So there it
cute.
is. It's you can't really see it very well, but there it is. And it's got some stills from the movie, which is pretty cool. Got to figure out how I'm gonna frame that
Make
and
sure you put it in
display
front of
it.
your other camera.
Oh, hang on. Let me make sure it's the right way.
Yay.
I don't know if that's coming through or not, but there it is. Yeah, very, very cool. Very fun.
Okay.
And I've heard that if you go and see it today, a lot of theaters are giving out the film. So
Oh, maybe I'll get it. Come on, AMC, pull through.
and I've also seen that there's different versions of it. So maybe different theaters are getting different versions. So it really is going to be like a special thing.
Oh, of the film, not of the
Hmm.
movie
Yeah.
itself. Okay. I
Yeah.
was
Different
like,
versions
different
of
version
the
of the movie? What do
film.
you mean?
We're
What
getting
is this,
like,
Clue?
yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. That one will come out in 2 weeks, people. Okay. So I think that's all we've got. Liz, I want to know what you rated this movie. And as a
I gave it
reminder,
5 stars.
okay,
5 stars.
okay. I was gonna tell the people who use Letterbox ratings, go follow us on Letterbox. 5 out of 5. Okay, amazing.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars. Yeah.
So there's some official ratings out there. Currently on Letterbox,
Mhm.
it's at a 4.1. And then 94% of Google users like the movie.
Mhm. I have a feeling that like the ratings are just gonna keep going up.
Yeah.
Just my instinctive feeling, in my professional opinion.
It has a 9 out
um,
of 10 on IMDb right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that people are just gonna fall in love with this movie.
Does it have a tomato meter? Or is it like too early for that?
I don't it didn't when I pulled these yesterday,
Let's see.
but they did have viewings of it yesterday, so maybe.
93% is what it says
Yeah.
right now.
Not
And
surprised
then
at
audience
all.
scored 94%. So that'll probably continue to
Mhm.
adjust over the next few weeks.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I'm super excited to see it tonight. And then I'll give all my takes whenever we do the full review of this movie in a few
Yeah.
months.
So Oppenheimer comes out today, but also Barbie comes out today. And we are also doing an episode on Barbie. So if you're listening to Oppenheimer first, be sure you go and check out our Barbie movie, spoiler-free episode as well. And we're going to have full episodes coming out on both of those. So stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Barbenheimer weekend. Go see them, people.
Before we sign off, I want to extend a huge thank you to our friend Luis for getting us tickets to see Oppenheimer advanced screening. And I also want to give a shout out to the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival for sharing their screening with us and sharing their mission and passion for film.
Yay. Thanks, guys. Okay, so it's time for us to say goodbye to all of you now. So thank you for tuning in to our Oppenheimer spoiler-free review episode. If you would, please leave us a rating or a review, drop a comment or a like on our YouTube, and then leave us an answer to our poll and Q&A section on Spotify.
You can find more information about the podcast and our whole podography on our website, bcritics.com, or find links to all the things on our Linktree in the episode show notes.
And be sure to subscribe or follow so you don't miss it. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
All right. Bye, guys. See you on the next one.
Bye, guys.